Well. What a difference 24 hours can make. And I say difference, listen people, I can only judge these rumors, these interest links, signings, in isolation. And I still don't want to hear no Madueke nonsense. What I said yesterday still stands, but today's a new day. It started on rocky ground, something about a bid forthcoming from Arsenal to Chelsea for Noni. But let's forget that. Let's park that off for a second because the big news has just broken. Both Fabrizio and Ornstein back to back. Viktor Gyökeres closing in on an Arsenal move. He's been waiting, I've been waiting, a lot of us have been waiting. Some of us have been jumping through hoops trying to make sense of Sesko, but we've landed at Gyökeres it seems. And let me just read the tweets first and foremost. Fabrizio started it about 30 minutes ago now. I don't know when this video will come out. The internet around here ain't the greatest, but bear with me people. Hit that like button, make sure you're subscribed. Arsenal are now getting closer to the signing of Viktor Gyökeres after a new round of talks in recent hours. Gyökeres will not return for training at Sporting as he's fully focused on leaving the club. Arsenal are now advancing. Nothing yet, but discussions underway. Or nothing done yet, but discussions underway. And he's added more on the Viktor Gyökeres news. Gyökeres has reached a total agreement, total in caps lock. We know what caps lock means when it comes to Fabrizio Romano. It means a here we go, caps lock is coming real soon. Total agreement on contract terms and informed Sporting about his desire to join Arsenal Football Club. Something we knew a few weeks ago when it came out that he's waiting on us rather than taking up the interest from Manchester United, and the wait seems to have paid off. No intention to discuss other options, only to proceed with Arsenal as soon as possible. Deal well underway. Love to hear it, love to see it. Make it happen, Arsenal. Let's get this one under our belts before that pre-season tour because we need something new in that attack. And it doesn't stop there, but obviously, like I said, in isolation, I'm going to talk about Gyökeres and why I want him and how I think he can improve us and so on, because there's a lot of doubters out there, especially when the Sesko news, came about at the start of the summer. A lot of us Arsenal fans were trying to make sense of it by saying younger, higher ceiling, more potential. But the reality is Gyökeres has scored over 100 goals in the last 2 seasons. How can you not take the punt? It is a risk. It is the Portuguese league. But he's done it across not only the Portuguese league, but in Europe as well. Europa League and Champions League last year. He scored a nice amount of goals. And he does it for Sweden on the international stage too. Nations League, I think he was Sweden's top scorer. Again, I've just pulled out the camera, people. Like I pulled out the camera yesterday in disgust, I've pulled out the camera today with joy. With joy, because this is exactly what we need. And I've already got people in the WhatsApp groups talking about, how many headers has he scored? What do you mean, how many headers has he scored? We've already got players that can score headers. That's the problem. We don't have anything different to change it up. We didn't have anything, up our sleeves, a plan B, dare I say it. And Gyökeres comes in, he's a completely different striker to Havertz, completely different striker to what we saw of Marino up top. I'm still favouring Marino over Havertz, but we know what it is there. But Gyökeres, who cares if he doesn't score a lot of headers? He bags his penalties, and we need someone that bags their penalties. When you consider a couple seasons ago, Saka, big miss against West Ham. This season, Odegaard, big miss against United in the FA Cup. Cost us along the way. I'm happy to see he scores his penalties. I couldn't care less if he scored 30 penalties in the last 2 years. He bags his penalties. That's a plus, that's a pro. And I couldn't care less about how many headers he scores either, because we've got enough players that are good in the box, crosses coming in, corners, Yova and all of that stuff. We've got enough of that. But finally, it looks like we're closing in on a striker that gives us something different, a striker that I expect to take the reins up top, take that number 9 shirt off Jesus eventually, and, push us forward into a better direction, a better equipped direction. Now, again, people, remember, this is in isolation. Obviously, we'll come the end of the window. I can talk about it in a whole. Let's see how many players we get in, what positions we address. I'm still, fuming about the Madueke links and the possible bid incoming today. But I'm focused on the Gyökeres one because we've been waiting a long time for a striker, not just over a month of this window. We've been waiting a couple years for a top striker to come in. And like I said, it comes with risks, but so does Osimhen. Damn sure Sesko too comes with more risks than both of those names. But we're going for Gyökeres, and in my opinion, he's one of the 2 strikers readily available, the other being Osimhen. And I know Isak and Liverpool rumours that, there could be something there, but again, in isolation, without knowing what happens with that, Gyökeres is a great move for me. And £56 million, come on, people, come on. £56 million for a striker as lethal as Gyökeres has been over the last couple of years makes sense. I know there's about 15 million in add-ons there, but some of those add-ons are Ballon d'Or and Champions League related. If we win the Champions League and he wins the Ballon d'Or, fuck it, give them 30 mil more. Who gives a shit about the add-ons then? Because who cares about fees if the player comes in and does what he needs to do? And the players coming in this summer, what they need to do is fire us to a Premier League title. And I say Premier League title because that's the one that I'm really after. That's the one that we need to get under our belts. 21 years waiting now. Obviously a Champions League would be nice, but yeah, let's talk about that the better. We've never won one of those. But Premier League, Gyökeres, I'm expecting big things. I'm expecting big things, people. And before we talk about what big things I'm expecting, yesterday I said, if you're vexed, download Proton. Today, if you're over the moon with this signing, download Proton. Even if you're upset and you wanted Sesko, download Proton, people. Before you abuse me in the comment section, make sure you got Proton locked in so I don't track no IP addresses. I can still track them out here. I've got people on job. So scan the QR code, people. Make sure you've got Proton. Over 15,000 servers, they won't let you down. Available in over 115 countries. I'm using it right here. I've banged out Squid Games now. I wasn't impressed with that one, but it is what it is. It is what it is. Godfather of Harlem last week. Thank you, Proton VPN, sorting me out. Make sure they sort you out as well, people. Exclusive offer. Scan the QR code. Link in the description. Link in the pinned comment section. 3 ways to make it make sense. So make it make sense, people. And what am I expecting of Gyökeres? I'm expecting a striker to come in and hit the ground running. As much as I've wanted him, best believe I'm expecting 20 goals this season from in the league. I'm not one of these modern new school fans that, say 20 goals and that's across Carabao and FA Cup and Champions League. And no. The standards are for a top striker, 20 goals in the league. And if we've got a 20 league goal striker, that pushes us ever so closer to a Premier League title. Now, I can't dismiss what Liverpool and Man City have done in the window and the experience they already have in both players, squad and management. Both managers have won the Premier League. Guardiola's got a few of those, to say the least. But we need to do business like this to try and close that gap. It is do or die next season. We have to win a major. We have to get something under our belts because we've been so close. And I'm not just talking about last season because we wasn't close last season. I'm talking about the previous 2. We've got to close that gap. We've got to go for it. And this is the summer to go for it. After last summer where we made profit, net spend and all of that stuff, January where we spent nothing and we needed to, this one makes sense. And listen, it comes along with Zubimendi, signed, sealed, delivered. Wow, that came out of nowhere, right? Wrong. We've been waiting 6 months for that. So I don't even know if I'm going to do a welcome video. I'm more gassed about this Gyökeres stuff right now than caring about Zubimendi coming in, even though he's a quality player. And I think it's a welcome addition. Gyökeres is the one going into the summer that I said, let's do that one. Let's just get this one under our belts. And when it came out that he's ignoring Man United and the interest over there, I said, yeah, this is exactly what we want. He ain't talking about Havertz up top and thinking game time. He's looking at Havertz and thinking, nah, this guy can't start ahead of me. And if he does, I'll be taking that within 20 minutes of coming off the bench. So I'm expecting Gyökeres to be linked up with the team pre-season tour out in Singapore. I'm hoping that I'll be there. But yeah, in isolation, people, like I said, this one is big news. Over the moon that finally we've got the striker that I think we need. The striker that I think we need. Something different. Something opposition defenders, might look at and fear. Because the amount of goals he scored over the last couple of years, you can tell he's clinical. He might be clunky on the ball. He might not be the best outside of the box. Who gives a shit? We need someone to be the best inside the box. Arteta's spoken a couple of years now of being better in both boxes. Gyökeres makes us better in the box that he's neglected over the last couple of years. Defensively, that box was sorted, we're cushy. It's the attacking third, the final third, that box that we need to sort out. And Gyökeres, hopefully, is the first domino that leads to Rodrigo later down the line. Rodrigo again on the bench for Real Madrid. He took down his story about the game, and there's definitely some unrest over there in that camp. But we've got business to do, people, and hopefully that's not Madueke. Hopefully this Gyökeres deal gets signed, sealed, delivered pretty quickly, and we can move on. I've had to jump out the pool again, and I'm about to jump back in the pool. I'm about to have a little swim with a smile on my face, because yesterday I was fuming. After that video yesterday, I just lied on the sunbed thinking, what's going on here? What's going on here? Now I can get in that pool with little man and enjoy. Ask him if he potentially wants a Gyökeres shirt, because if we get the signings we need to get, then go buy the merch. That's what it is. You lot show us that you lot want to win. You lot show us that you want to improve the starting 11, and we'll show you that we support, we love, we show this, the faith that, is required to win the major honours, to win a Premier League title. So Victor Gyökeres, 56 million. I think even Ornstein has tweeted. So let's bring up the Ornstein one. Usually he waits about 45 minutes after Fabrizio. This time round it seemed to be back to back. Arsenal advanced talks with Sporting over deal to sign Gyökeres. Transfer fee discussions continue, but personal terms in place for a 5-year contract. He's 27, 5 years takes him to 32. Obviously, if it works out, it works out. Never mind about the 5 years. If it doesn't, then, we've secured a player that is still young enough to, improve, young enough to acclimatise to this league. And something I like is the mentality he's showing. He sided off United. United would have probably paid him more than us, knowing them. But he's not after the money. He's after some glory. Now, I know opposition fans might laugh right now. What glory? Arsenal Football Club. You're right. But if he is the man to take us over the line, then what does he become? Especially for all the young fans that have never seen Arsenal win a Premier League title, never seen Arsenal at the top end of English football being spoken about like we once were in the mid to late 90s, early 2000s. I love that mentality from Gyökeres. I love him as a striker from what I've seen so far. He bangs in the Portuguese league, albeit not the best. He's banged in Europe for the last couple of years, and he bangs for Sweden. He bangs. What do we need? We need someone that bangs. No need to make this one make sense. It makes sense, people. So hit that like button, scan the QR code, make sure you're subscribed, do all of that stuff. Love for the love, very different feeling, very different aura to yesterday's video. But it is what it is in isolation. Gyökeres, great news. Madueke, go watch that video if you want to know what I think. Love for the love. Join up Proton, people. QR code is there. Link is in the description. And there's a pinned comment too. Peace.